Hello guys, so today we'll be talking about the assignment we're being given for week 4. So they said create a new pen on codepen.io, write and test your code with the editor. Once you are satisfied, save your work and copy the pen URL. Submit the URL in the assignment tab of your dashboard. So we are going to go to our Google and type, let me say this Google. Google search, and I'm going to type code pen. So this is code pen. Let's log in. For a new user, you have to log in, you have to sign up, but basically I already have an account with code pen, so there's no need signing up. I just need to log in. So just give me a few seconds. My network is a bit bad, so just he said I should refresh. Let me refresh it. It's a bit bad. Okay, so this is my code pen. This is what it looks like. So I'm going to create a pen, like what they say, create a pen. A pen is more like a folder. I'm going to name it, rename it. I'll say Timothy, my name, Timothy 3MTT with 4 assignments. I click enter. I can save it immediately. It's saved. Timothy 3MTT with 4 assignments. So I need to now create my dummy HTML code. So before that, we've done that. Now if you want to share the link of this, you just say share. When you share, they say share, or you copy the URL, just copy it, and that's what you'll be using. You paste. So now, but let's do the assignment. They say first of all, below is the task. The task is that style a web page using different selectors, element, class, and all that. ID, pseudo class, and advanced selector like the descendants or sibling. So we have to style using this. In a short while, we'll be building a web page. Then the next two, they say responsive web page using media query for tab and all that. Then they say use flexbox transition and all that. So let me pause. So we've created a code pen. We can now start coding. So to create a HTML boiler code, you press your shift and 1 and you press tab. Being able to create your HTML boiler code. Now the next thing you do, you can change the document to 3MTT week 4 assignment. So you type it week 4 assignment. So that's your title. Now the body of your HTML doesn't carry any element, so you start by creating a header. So let's start, just type header, header, and you press your tab. You've created your header. So now in your header you have a h1 tab. You created your h1. So welcome to my web page. So I said welcome to my web page. Now my header should contain a navigation bar. So a nav bar, press nav, and that nav bar should contain an unordered list. You can use ordered or unordered list. Now the first list, I can actually create this in shortcut by saying L1, then Li, then Li times 4. I need a 4 list, or should I say times 3. Then I say angle A, then I click tab. It's going to create them for me 4 times. So the first one should be my home, home page. So I'll type home. The next one should be my about. So hash about. So I type my about, and the next one should be my hash contact. You could put every different services, all that, you could do it. I'm just trying to create a very basic something that you can tweak to your own liking. So this is it. Now you can see it. This is it. Now the next thing you can do is to create what is called your we've done this. The next thing you could do is to create your main tag. After your header, you have your main tag. So you created your main tag. Now in your main tag, you can create a section for home, about, and contact. So I'm going to create my section with an ID section for home. Let me put an ID home. So inside your home, you could write many other things inside. Or let me just say H1, H2, home section. Let me just create something on me first. You can tweak it later. Then you can create a paragraph and say this is the home section. The home section of the web page. So I don't know if that makes sense. So that's the first section we created for our home, because we have 3 of them. Then the next one section should be for our about section tab to the ID of about. So ABOUT about. So you can type your H2 tab and you see about us. Then you can now come and maybe write a paragraph, say something. We provide information about our services and our mission. So we are done with the second. Now the third section, I say section tab and I create it ID. Now I can call this, what should I, contact. Is it contact? Let's go back. Contact, yes. So we created contact. So inside the contact we have a H2 tab. Then we can see contact us. Now after you say contact us, the next thing you can write a paragraph to just say something. Feel free to reach out to our services form or email. Feel free to reach out through our contact. Yes, or email. Now or email. So we've done this. Now the next thing we'll do is we've created this basic HTML with contact the home. These are home, about us, and contact. Now you know how this works. Now if I click home, it takes me to the home. If I click about us, it takes me to the about us, and if I click contact, it takes me to the contact. So that's why I use the ID and this to navigate to that particular place. So let's go back to the assignment. They said we should create style a web page using different selector. We should style this web page using different selector. Now build a responsive web page using media query that adjusts for mobile, tablet, and all that. So after styling, we have to make it what? Responsive. Now we can also use flexbox. They say create one page layout using flexbox and another using CSS grid, each with a header, a content. Create one page layout using CSS grid, and each with a header, a section, and a footer. So we are actually creating, we've created the header, content section, and we are to create our footer. So let me go back and create the footer. So after this main section, so it's supposed to be after main. After our main, then we are to have a footer. So click on it, and this footer, you know what you should contain in your footer now. So you could create a paragraph and say you add your copy sign. Copy. See, you copy. That's your copyright sign. Let's say 2024 my web page. So all rights reserved. Put your full stop, and that's all. So if you come back to this, you can see this. So you can choose to add your your other this thing. You could choose to add other paragraphs. Say let's add our Facebook handle, Facebook, or let's say we put this in a navigation tab. You can add a navigation nav here with an unordered list. Nav tag with unordered list. Then we can put a list with I told you ×3, then angle A, the link, A, then tab. Didn't work. List ×3, then your angle, your A, then you press your tab. It's supposed to. It didn't work. I'm shocked. Let me see. ×3. So LI, then put your A and it's a tab. So you can call this your Facebook, you call this your Instagram, and you can call this your Twitter, and hash. So this is it. Don't worry, we'll remove all these things later on when we start styling. So this is just the basic web page. So if you go back, I'm trying to factor in all what they've said we should do. They say add a transition to button or link and create a simple animation. Add a transition to a button or a link and create a simple transition. So first of all, let's address this one part. They say we should style using what? We should use selector, CSS selector, element, class, and ID. So I will start by using an element class to style this. So when I go back to this, so I want to use an element class to style. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to use an element class to style this. That's this. To style this. To style my header. So if I say, first of all, you know your boiler code. You normally start with a boiler code. So said your margin is what? 0. Your padding is 0, and what? Your box sizing is what? Border box. So we've done this. So you can see that all this, they are close to the screen. Padding, all, so it's padding. So you can see everything is close, margin and all that. So now that we've done this, successfully done this, this can be considered as an element selector. But let me make it more, so I can actually create. So selectors, let me create a comment, selectors and styling. So this is my universal selector. I can call this I started with a universal selector, universal style, sorry. Now let me start applying what they say we should do. So the first thing they said we should do is to what? Use an element selector. So now what element do we want to style? I want to style the header, right? So I will say header. Please let me put comment. So for those of you, so I start with element selector. So for my header, I'm going to style the header using the element selector. So header, you understand. So I want to give a background color to my header. Background color. Sorry, the syntax, if you don't write it, there's no intelligence here. So you can put anything. Let me just, I'm actually using a color here that looks good, so let me try and use it same here. 050. So did you see we've changed the background color of this? Now I want to change the color of the text, color of my text to white. So what's going on? Color of my text to white. Okay, sorry, I didn't put it. If I didn't put this, so color, I've changed the color of the text to white. Now pardon me. I want to create a padding. There's no space, So I want to create a padding. We all know what padding is, so there's no need. Padding of 10 pixels. We always start from the top, 10 pixels from the top. So then but to the right 0 pixels. So this is it, 10 pixels, and to this 0 pixels. So if you put 10 pixels all, it will take a 10 pixel around everything. So let me just put 10 pixels then 0 to the right. Now I've done that, top and right. So now the next thing I want to do text align. I want to bring this to the center, so it doesn't make sense. Text align, and bring this to the center. So now it's at the center. You can see it is at the center. Now I've applied element selector. Now the next thing they say, we should apply a class selector. Now I cannot apply a class selector without giving this a name class. So I can call this a class of nav list. Let me call this a navigation list. Now, so this is a navigation list. I cannot apply a class selector. So let me say class selector. Now, so for my class selector, you know how we do a class selector. You are going to first of all what you want to select. You are going to pick what you want to select. So what do I want to select? I want to select my I want to select my class dot nav what? Where is it? Nav list. So we are talking about a class. So this class now, I want to make sure that the elements here, they have no style. You see this thing that is here. If I give a padding now, let me give a padding, you see something. Let's say padding of 20 pixels. Sorry. Okay. For me to see it, I need to give the padding to these elements, like padding. Sorry, you may not see it here, but let me give this padding to the elements under here. Forgive me, please. So let me give so like I was saying, I want this. There are usually some things close by here that you may not see. So let me put a padding in for my body. Let me say body. So body padding of 20 pixels. Now you can see some stuff. This is what I wanted you to see. So right now you could see it now. This is it. You see all of them. But pardon me, this padding is not supposed to be on my body because it's affecting everything in my body. I want it to be specific on the okay. This is my nav, so I want all these things. It's not what I'm trying to do. Okay, sorry. On my nav now, I don't want all these list style. I don't want the list style. So what I should do is to say list style type should be none. So list style type as none. Now the next thing I want to do is to say a padding for my list style padding, or should I say justify content, justify content. So justify content space, this doesn't so let me add a display first. Display flex. So we display it flex and space between justify content space between. To be hard for me to let me add a flex. So let me say flex direction. Call it. Let me see something. What's going on? Oh, sorry. Pardon me. I'm adding. Sorry. Now this list, I'm supposed to add this this class I added is supposed to be for my unordered list. Sorry, this is what I wanted to do since. So for my unordered list, I'm going to say nav dot nav list. So display my nav list. I say flex. Display nav list as flex. Now I can put a gap of say 20 px between them, or I can increase it to 50. I can say justify content to the center. So it's at the center. Then align items to the center also. Center also. I don't need alignments for now. Justify has worked fine for what I need. But I can even say space between. So space between, then I add a padding of 30 px. Okay, let's say padding, a margin left of 20 px. I can do a margin right of 20 px also. so there is space. I can choose to increase them. It's all to me. Space between, space around is just all to my own discretion. I can remove this gap of 50. If I remove this gap of 50 and have something like this, I can make this so this is it. I can tweak this to my, but I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. So what should I do? Okay, instead of margin left, margin right, why not I give this? Okay, I think this is fine, this is fine. Let me remove the space between. Instead of, can say center for now first. Let's use center, let's be good. So, and this, I want to remove all this and put the gap. Gap should work fine for me, 50 pixels. Gap is okay for me. For now, I can increase it to 100, 100 pixels, if that's what I want. I've successfully created this one. Can bring this up. So now the next thing I want to do from your, they said, okay, we have done this class and ID. We want to do an ID now, ID selector. So now I want to apply the ID and pseudo selector, pseudo classes. So when I go to my code pen, okay, pardon me. So if I go to my code pen, I'd actually added this space between to space this, and I flex this. Okay, let me just go back to what I was having before. So this is what we were working with before now. So you can actually add a background. So I added box shadow to it. So if I should remove this color, you will see what I'm talking about. Look at the box shadow. So, but it's just my own way of adding box shadow to it, you understand? So now the next thing we are going to do, okay, we've done this. You can see right 15 pixels also, so that let there be space, because the padding is supposed to be top and right, 15 pixels. Now I don't want this to be here, I want it to be this other side. So I flex this header. Let me flex this header. Sorry, not flex. Display, flex. So I flex the header. Now the header is flexed, but I have to justify content. Justify content, and I say space between. I just saw it on some website, space between. So you see it is now here. You understand? So this is it. This is it for this. So the next thing we could do is to say, Okay, we have this here, we have this here. The next thing we could do is to add a style. We've done our class style, so we can add another style. So they say we should use ID, right? So I can add an ID to this called the nav underscore list, nav list ID. And in this part now, this nav list ID, I want to make sure that every tag, I want to apply the ID selector. I want to select using an ID. So I'm going to say hash nav underscore list. Now, but I want to make sure I'm targeting a particular thing. So nav underscore list, my anchor tag. So in my anchor tag, I want to make sure that the color of my anchor tag, text decoration, I remove the text decoration to none. Remove text decoration to none. So all these underline is no longer there. So the next thing I will do is to say my color. I can add color to my this. Let me see. Okay, I wrote a color here 007BFF. So you see, I change the color to something like this. So now this is it. I've added color. Now if you go back to this, they talked something about transitioning. We can footer, then transition and animation. Add transition to button or links and create a simple animation. So this is a link. These anchor tags are linked, so I want to add transitions to them. So to add transition to this link now, I can come here. Since I'm talking about the anchor tag, I can add a transition. Now you see how the transition works. So I can say, what do I want to transition? The color. So color 0.3 seconds. It should ease in, right? So pardon me if my syntax is not correct. Let me quickly check the syntax. So it's not ease in, but this is. So if I come to this anchor tag, you may not be able to see the transition I just applied. You understand? You may not be able to see it, but look at it. When I clicked on this anchor tag, it changed. So it changed. All these ones, when I clicked on them, they changed. So let me go back and do something. So I want to add a pseudo selector now. I want to add a pseudo selector. This is in, it's not working the way I wanted it to. Let's see something. We'll come back and add this later. Yes. So this is it. The transition is not as smooth as I want. So let's go to I want to add. They say we should do pseudo selector. So in our pseudo selector now, we want to add. Okay, I want to add a pseudo selector to my anchor tag, but at hover. So if you hover on my anchor tag, the color of the element should change. So I'm using this color 005 6 6B3 005 6B3. So this is water. So look at this. It may not be as visible as we want it to. It may not be as visible as we want it to. But let me check. Let me copy this color. I wrote this for this. Let's see. It's not visible. So let me make something that is visible enough so that you can see what I'm saying. So red now. I'm using red. So if we hover on this, we are supposed to I'm supposed to see my red. Hover. Why is it not working? Let me troubleshoot, please. So I applied this hover and I discovered it was not working. I was trying to troubleshoot why is the reason. So I discovered that in my nav tag, the nav, I already added this to my nav list, a color to my nav list. That color is the one. It's like it's on top of what I added, so I couldn't see this properly. So the best thing I could do was to this ID selector. Okay, I could remove this, just remove this color, and I'm working with this. Now I can see this, but the fact that this is not very visible is a problem to me. So I can cut this, come here to my anchor tag. I need to give my anchor tag a color. So specifically for anchor tag, I give it a color of this. So now it's changing to white anytime I hover. So my anchor tag is to change to white if I hover on it. You can pick any color that makes sense to you. You understand? For now, I've added pseudo selector. You understand? This thing I added here, there's no need putting this on my list. I could actually add it inside here, text decoration for anchor tag, but it only happen for all anchor tags. So I wanted it to be specifically for anchor tag within the list. So that's why. So we are done with this. So we have used our pseudo selector. So the next thing they asked us to do, okay, I want to add transition. I'm trying to add transition. So to add transition to this, I can, on my hover, this should transition. I can say a transition should be here. Transition color 0.5 seconds ease. So did you see the way it's easing? If I remove this, when I hover on it, it's just immediately. If I come back, Ctrl Z, and I put this, look at the way it's coming. It's transitioning carefully. So that's what the transition does. You can tweak it. You can use transition for background. Let me try something just to bring the transition home. Background color. Okay, let's say transition here now. Let me put background color now. Supposed to work now for background color. Let's not waste time on this. Shabo, you get the points now. So transition, we've done that. Now the next thing on our list pardon me, the next thing on our list is to our home section. So let me go back. I don't even forget it. So advanced selectors like descendants or siblings. So we should use advanced selectors like descendants or siblings. Let's just continue. We'll use this one later on for something on our page. So the next part is talking about responsiveness. That we should do a responsiveness for mobile phone, tablet, and desktop. So we talked about responsiveness earlier on, so I will not waste my time talking about responsiveness now. So but let's just do something on responsiveness. So on responsiveness now for mobile, tablet, and desktop phone. So we'll go back to our code pen. Now I wish this, I don't really know how to use this code pen. Assuming it's okay, let me see. Okay, assuming this is okay, let's see. We work this way. So you see now, look at, if we're talking about responsiveness now, this our web page is not responsive in the sense that you see what's going on. This context, this text here, they are supposed to align horizontally now that the page is smaller, so that somebody that is using a small size screen could be able to see what is going on here, but they are not aligned. So that's one thing with responsiveness. It makes your this thing work in all screen. So but there's something I want to do. My footer. So in my footer I want to apply my ID selector. So I can say ID footer. So because I want to make sure this footer is represented here. So I come, you use ID hash, then footer. So I want a background color. Now let me go the same color I use for my header. Let me just pick that color for header and use it. So I come back here. And replace this. So you see there is a color here. Now if you notice something, I want this to be centered, so I can justify text align. First of all, text align my text to the center. So this text should be at the center. I could choose to rearrange this Facebook, Instagram. So but let me do something. Text decoration. No, please. I don't like the decoration that this has. Text. Okay, this is not an anchor tag. Sorry. So I want to remove text decoration for all anchor tags. So I can add this here also. I can add this to this. So you can see this here. But let me look at something. Text decoration is supposed to remove the underline for this. I don't know. Okay, text style. Let me see something. Text decoration. What again? So I can justify. Let me justify content first. content space between. First of all, I have to flex this. Display
talking about being bullish or bearish on a certain asset. They might even mention that a market is in a bull market or a bear market. But what exactly does that mean? Let's break it down.
Text.
A bull market is when stock prices are on the rise. Think of it as a time when the economy is booming, production is strong, jobs are plentiful, and inflation is low. During this period, investors are generally optimistic, expecting prices to keep climbing. People tend to invest more, hoping to ride the wave of rising prices.
Okay, I've been adding this in the wrong place.
Stock prices are falling, the economy slows down, and unemployment and inflation start to creep up. In this scenario, investors are usually pessimistic, fearing that prices will continue to drop, which often leads them to sell off their assets to
Yes,
avoid
I've been
losses.
adding it to the wrong
Both
place.
bull and bear
So
markets,
I want to
investors tend to
actually
act based on the
this
assumption
now.
that the trend
I
will
want to
continue.
remove this
If they
guys
believe
here.
prices will
So
rise,
I'm
they
going
are
to
considered bullish. If they think prices will fall, they are bearish.
I'm
These
going to
terms
use the
describe their market
advanced
outlook and guide their
selector now
investment
to achieve
strategies.
this. Advanced
The
selector
key
like the
driver behind
descendant.
both bull and bear markets is the basic
So
economic principle of
I want to
supply and
apply
demand.
an
When the
advanced
demand for
selector
securities is higher than the supply, prices rise, leading to a bull market. Conversely, when supply exceeds demand, prices fall,
to this.
resulting in a bear market. Three
So
important
let me
questions on
first
the
of all
horizon.
write
When are
this
we in a bull or bear market? It's not always clear cut, but according to the Dow
advanced
theory, a market is considered bullish if prices have risen by at least
selector
20%. Conversely,
like
if prices drop by 20% or more, we're in a bear market.
descendant.
Second,
So
how long
now
do these markets last?
let's check now.
This varies,
This
but broadly speaking,
nav
markets that
link,
last longer than 5 years are called secular markets,
the
while those that
descendant
last
of
for
the
shorter
nav
periods
list
are known as
is the
cyclical
LI,
markets.
right?
Third, why are they called bull
So
and bear markets? The origins
I
of
can
these terms
put
are debated, but one theory is that
something
they
to
relate
this,
to how the animals attack. Bulls thrust their horns
or
upwards, symbolizing rising prices,
so when I
while
do
bears
this
swipe
now
their paws
on the
downward,
list here,
indicating falling
I want to
prices.
say text
Investing during the bull
decoration
market might seem straightforward. Buy early, watch
should
prices
be
rise, and then
none.
sell at the peak. But timing the market is incredibly tricky. Nobody can predict exactly when the market will hit its peak. The strategy sounds simple, but it's much harder to execute
List
perfectly. In a bear market, there are different strategies you can use.
style.
Some investors move their money into less
Let me
volatile
change
assets
this
like
thing.
bonds, which offer fixed returns.
So our list style we say is none. We don't want to see a style for our list. I don't know why it's issuing me a style. I'm very perplexed. Why is it showing me a style? Let me check. Okay, so okay, this wouldn't work for what we wanted to do. I wanted to remove this from this. So what I'm supposed to do is, since this is from the footer, I'm going to say footer nav, then I'm going to my one. So from here, what do I want to do? Firstly, I want to display this as flex. I display flex. Look at what happened. Are you seeing it? They are now arranged. But I want it to be at the center. So I say text align center. So this should come to the center. Text align center. Okay, sorry. So let me justify the content to the center. Justify content then center. So we should come to the center now. I need to give this a space gap. You can see a gap of 50 pixels, so that there will be a space between them. Now you see this style, this list style. I don't want it. I say list style none. So the list style should be out. So the list style is out. Now I can remove this text. What do they used to call it? Is it text decoration? Let me confirm this thing. So I want to remove this underline, so I can say text decoration to none. So the underline is supposed to be out. Okay, it's not on the list. So okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. So if I want to remove, it's supposed to be for footer, nav, underline, list, anchor. So I'll remove this now. So it's out. It's busy for this anchor tag. So the text decoration for anchor tag, so it's out. I've removed this and it's pasted. I can actually do whatever I want with this, but this is okay for now. I can put a padding. I can choose to put a padding around, let's say 10 pixels around everything. So there's a space, at least a space around this. I reduce it to 5 pixels. So there's a space around this. So I think that's fine. I can also put a margin top on this footer. So I can put a margin top on the footer and say let's be 20 pixels. Because so margin top on the footer 20 pixels. Okay, no margin, padding, sorry, padding top on the footer. So there's a space, but this is too much. Let me make it 5 pixels. 10 pixels is fine. 10 pixels is fine. So there's a space at the top. You can leave your own shot. I just want to make a little bit of, okay. So we can also use the sibling selector, but I think we will use a descendant selector. That's fine. So the next thing they ask us to do is, when you go here, they are talking about media query. So build a media query. Build a responsive web using a media query that adjusts for mobile, tablet, and desktop. So I want to adjust media query for mobile now. You can use your ChatGPT to check for mobile, but okay, I've already checked that already, the screen size. Now let's say using media query now. Media query is, now we're talking about our for mobile phones, up to 600 pixels. What should it do? So first of all, you need to start with at media only screen, and so you put your value. The maximum width we are dealing with is 600 pixels for mobile phones. Then you open your braces. Now before we go into this, let me explain this now. If you check this is not responsive at all, because we can't even see our stuff. They are not showing here, so it's not responsive at all. Yeah, it's not responsive at all. So but this thing is supposed to be centered justified center with this. So before I go straight to this on my head that there's something I need to do. So I justify center. I'm supposed to align item also center. Align item center. Okay, justify center, align item center. Let me check something. No, it's not. It's not doing what I want, sorry. It's not doing what I want. Okay, on this nav, I need to make this nav to be centered. This nav at the top, sorry. This nav list, I want it to be centered. So on this nav list, I say align item center. So you may not understand what I'm trying to achieve since it's still not working. What's going on? So before I continue with my media query, okay, these things, they are not aligned. So when I go to my header, I discover I put a padding of this, so I can copy this padding, come to this my nav list and paste it. Okay, so you see they are aligned. If I go now and say okay, it's aligned where I want it. So I think I've gotten what I want. Let them be on the same line. So now, with that being said, let me continue with my media query. So for my mobile phone now, up to 600 pixel, the first thing I want is that this nav list should change to a column instead of a row that it is. It should change to a column. So I can say nav on ordered list change to what? You should change to, I can say flex direction to column. So I've achieved the nav list. So let's try this now and say okay, it's covered. So you see it's changed to, but because of the gap we used before, so the space is too much. So the best thing we could do is to come back to this, remove this gap, and instead of justify content center, say space between. Space between, supposed to work now. Oh. Sorry. I'm supposed to apply this to the list under my nav. So let's I can't even move all these things. So now let me remove that. So list under my nav, list nav, then on order, then list. So this is what I want. I want the gap of 20 pixels. So this should affect now on order list. Justify content space I don't know. Am I doing something wrong? Let's come back and check this. Let's come back to nav list, anchor tag. This nav.nav list. I don't even need this thing that I added here. So if I class selector is supposed to go to that class. So let me say gap 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 of 30 pixels. Okay, so now I'm okay with this gap of 30 pixels. So the media query I added now, look at it. So it's better compared to what we have before. So I could actually reduce this gap if I want to. So I say the gap should be let's see 40. You understand? But now instead of putting a padding of 15 from this side, I could say a padding of 50 from the left hand side. So I could also increase this to 100. So it brings this one close by. So now when look at it, when we have this, it's now so this could work. Or when I come here, say justify content to center. So I think this will work fine. Let's leave this at 50. So gap 20. So it's anything you want, yeah. So this is what we are working with. So you can see that I reduce. I'm having something reasonable. So this is it. I think this, I've added media query to this, so we are okay with this. Now there's something I want to bring all this body element to the center. So let me add body now. Body, and I say justify content, or I can say align or text align to the center. So I've aligned all the text to the center. So I can actually put a background color for every, when we are talking about home section, it should have its own color. About section should have its own color, and contact section should have its own color for simplicity. But for now, let's continue with our media query. So I've added a media query for mobile. I made sure that the nav list is column, but let me align the content of the nav list. Align item to center. Align items to center. So look at it now. When I minimize this thing, so you can see that it's coming to the center. So now let's go back let's do okay. If we check, this is only happening to our nav. Our nav. Understand? It's only happening to our nav. Okay, it's happening to our footer too. But I don't like it the way it's happening to footer. So let's tweak something. So I can also add some things to this. So I can say nav unordered. So to my list now, I want to add something to my list. So for my list, I can say let there be a margin of 10 pixels, 0. So look at it now. This is it. So for my main tag under the media query, I can add a padding for the element, because they are getting small. You see what I'm saying now? Padding 10 pixels. So look at it for your element now. If we minimize this, so there should be a pad, you see. So there is a padding for your main element. So they are now, but because we text align add them to the center, you may not see it. So but this is what it is looking like. I'll change the footer also. The bottom is too small. So now let me go back and say, what else do I need to add? Okay, for my footer now, I've not added something for my footer. Let me add footer. Sorry. Footer. Oh, this is going to record. Okay, footer, my nav, and unordered list. What do I want to add? I want to add a flex direction to this. Left direction should be column. Left direction of column with an align items towards center. So let me show you what I mean. Let me minimize this. So you may not see this thing. You may not see it because this is already column before. So this is so if you look at it, it is on a row before. So when we do it, when we minimize it, it turns to a column, but the gap is too wide. So what I need to do now is to go back to the footer. The gap I gave for footer is too wide. Text, where's my footer? So I gave you a padding top. Okay, gap of 50 for footer. So I can change it to 10. Understand? 10 between them. Is that gap now that if I minimize, so you can see it that it's now wide. But I don't cherish this gap. I don't cherish it. Padding. Let me remove this part. So let me reduce it and see. So this is it. So this is it. It's now so in this we can actually justify sorry. Let's put space between remove this gap. So if I remove this gap now, look at something. So look at how it is now. So I can come and say, okay, since I'm using space between, justify, let me align items to the center. Align this to the center and I give a margin, okay, padding of 0 to the top, 100 pixel to the left, 0 to the bottom, and 100 pixels to the right. So this should make sense. I should change this to 300. This makes sense, sure. It's just to, for now, for it to make sense. So if we go back to this, it's too wide, so applying this is like to spoil everything. So it's best I go with what I'm doing before. Justify content to the center, align item to the center, then I give it a gap of 5 pixels. So I have a gap of 5 pixels. So if I can minimize this now, you can see it. I think this is preferably better than what we have before. So this is it for that. We've achieved media query for mobile phones. I want to achieve media query for tablet. So let me go media query tablet. So we can just put a comment, say for tablet, and let me just write the screen size. And on tablet we have a main.
Are you recording?
Yes. Main width of 601 pixels and the maximum width of 1024 pixels. So it's not minimum width, sorry. Minimum width. So I can copy this code that is up there. I'm going to just write my own code. So I can copy this same thing here. So for media query, this one, copy this now for maximum. So we are dealing with minimum width of 601 pixels and maximum width of 1024 pixels. So this is what we want to do. So in the middle here, now this is it. Let me just copy the code out. So for tablet, I say only screen width of 600 and the maximum screen width. I said reduce the header to 15 pixels, main width padding of 20 pixel, navigation justify around. So now with this save now, let's minimize the screen. So okay, let me minimize this now. So you can see it now. It has changed. See, the main width is changing. So that is it for this. Assuming this is this is not even VS Code, I would have been able to even show you the screen size as we are coding, or we even use the extension to show you how it appears on different screen size. But nevertheless, this is it for media query for tablet. So now the next one is media query for desktop. There's no time, let me just so for desktop now, added the media query to 250 aux. You can see only screen minimum and flex start 50 pixel, footer navigation, flex end, padding right 50 pixels, and you can see this. This thing doesn't auto suggest for me, so it's a bit difficult writing all the codes. So this is it, and if we minimize this on the desktop screen, this is what it looks like. This is what it should be looking like. Understand? Oh, I actually don't want this fixed at this side. So say navigation list. Say flex start. Padding of 50 pixels. Main width of 200. Okay, I'm coming. So this is what I want to footer. footer, put it at 50 pixels from this side. For I want to, I actually flex things. I like it under like this, so I can. But if you want to flex it to the end, so that's off. Then align items to the center, so it comes to the center. Flex and align items to the center. Text align center. This is aligns with this. Now, the footer and the fact that the footer is like this way do not make sense. Footer, so if you look at something, my footer is at the top like this, which doesn't make sense. It means that my main is not pushing my footer to the bottom. So the best thing I can do is to, first of all, instead of adding something to my footer, let me remove this margin. So put a minimum width. There's no need for this minimum width, I beg. But I want to put it. So now this is what I should do. Flex my main to 1. So the content of this main is supposed to push this footer down. So let me go to my footer now. Padding right now. So I'll be continuing with, they say we should use flexbox, which is part 3. Flexbox I'd already used, we've done part 2 already. So flexbox and grid, we've already been using flexbox. We've used flexbox already. Create one page layout using flexbox and another with header and context footer, and using CSS grid. Okay, now we should add transition and animation. So let me add the contact part of this web page, then we can add flexbox and also add CSS grid and some other stuff. So the transition, so let me go to, okay, let me go here. So I want to add under my contact us now. So let me bring this down. So under contact us. Okay, let's contact us. Okay, so this is contact us. So I wanted to add some things on the contact us. So I wanted to add okay an ordered list for the contact us. Now that list should contain an L1 in a list of our phone phone number. So I can say 08101 264323. So this is my phone number. Okay, so this is it, my phone number. So phone number, you can say okay, I want to add a list with our email. Timothy Ignatius @gmail.com. So the next thing I want to do, I've added my email, so I can now add a form. Venture, let me add an address. Kogi State, Wada Road, Lokoja, Canada Village. Okay. So we can add a form after the unordered list. We can add a form immediately after it. So your form, now the form should contain a label. Form should contain a label for name, and you can put name, label for name, so you put name. So under the label you put your input now, normal. So input for name, existing. So input for name, text is okay. So your ID, you can give it an ID of name, then the name should still be name, and what again, you can make it required. So we are done with that one. So the next thing you can do is to add another, so you have to add another label, and this time the label is for, after we put in our name, our email, so the ID should be for email, the name would be for email. I think your label email. So your input, you put an input after it, and the input should have email and input email ID email and the name is what? Email. Email is required. And this is something I shouldn't have done here. These things are not. So for the label for this, I'm not supposed to add all this. That's my fault. Okay. So I'm done with that. So the next thing I'm to add is a label for message. Message here. Message. So a message, instead of an input text, is kind of text area. And for a text area, the name should be message. The ID is message. Columns, okay, 30 rows, 30 down, fine. You can also add required to this, so it's compulsory. After we are done with this, the next thing we do is our button. Add a button, and this button should say send message. And the button should have a type. Submit. Type submit, I think. Okay, you can see. That's all. Setting. That is 2.5. First thing I will do is I want the display of my phone. Display to be flex. Flex direction. Should be check it. It's this way. The maximum width. It's too broad like this. 300 pixels. So this is it. Now I want it to be at the center here, so I can come and say margin bring this to the center, so it's at the center. to give it a pad of let's say 30 pixels. So it has a pad here. Okay, let me see the margin bottom 30 pixels. So I can see the bottom of one. So let's go ahead and move this. So we have done this. Now I want let it be a background. So I can put a border shadow. So my border shadow will be 7 pixels. RGB 0, 0, 0.1. This should work. Let's see if my syntax is box shadow. It's not working. Okay, RGB. Okay, so the box shadow is here. Then I can see give me the margin of 26 so that so it's within this. So margin of 10 pixels. Margin 10 pixels. Leave a space between these lines. Maybe this is border. Reduce 10 or 8 pixels. With cohort. So to continue from where we stop, there's no space between this and this. So what I will do is to say form button. Let's leave to give a form button a background color. So to give the form button, we'll say background color. Background color, putting the colors on there. 0, 0, 7, this is the background color we're using. We need to give it color and X color of white. Text color of white. And background. That will be pattern 10 pixels. Okay. Now I can see the border. There should not be a border. No. Like we thought about buttons doesn't have border. And this, I can actually put a cursor here. A cursor to pointer so that once cursor goes there, you can point. I have this now, and here changes to pointer, but there are no space in between. So to add space in between each of these elements, you can see from comma. I want to add space between this and this. This is my input from input, comma, my form. Okay, let's start with my form label. Add space on my form label. Form input. What again? Text area. And what I want to add a pattern. Imagine of 10 pixels. You can see there is no space across them. I can reduce this to 5. So it's a bit closer. You can see border radius. Border radius is just for input. So I can go to input and see this have the border radius of 8 pixels. So 8 pixels. And I increase the width. Just the width should be 100%. Yes, okay, what I'm supposed to do is to see the border radius of 2 pixels. And that's okay. Put this. Can also put the same thing for text area. So that's number 5. I can also add it. done this. I think I've basically done that. So to separate this from this my about, I want to add the color, separate color. So ID a section will be called about. I'm going to add. So I'm going to add the background color. So this is it. To make my about, you can see my home. There you go. I have no understanding for about. So let me check. Normally there's a standing for about this. What to do. Yes, what is considered to prove it. I want to follow that as well. So now I want to add transition. I'll be adding transition and animation to this one. So coming here, let's add the transition to this. Here. I want to add a transition to this button. So to add a transition to this body, first thing I'm going to do is sign button. Now this should be selected at Hoover. What should you do? Select the color, text with black. With the background. Let's try something else. Okay. Keyframes now. Pounds. This is usually in pounds. So add 0% slash 100% also. I wanted to do something. So this is what I wanted to do. And this will be a transform. Translate by at 50%. It should also be a transform. Translate So I want to apply these bounds now. Apply 2 seconds. So this is it. So when these transitions we've applied here, can you see we should do animation transition? I think this is it, but you can add other things to beautify what you want to. So if we go back to our file, successfully been able to do this, 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 this. I've done it. The expansive design. I've done all this. I've done this. Now flex. Create a flex box. We've actually done using flexbox. We use flexbox, but we've not done CSS grid. Not done CSS grid. Not done this yet. The header content section. Footer. So we will check. We have done this transition bouncing or sliding. We use bouncing. See bouncing or sliding, you can be able to glance. Bouncing, we didn't do this. I think we are good to go, good to go, good to go. You can drop your tools. And I think we can do this.